All right, everybody. We are joined by driver of the number 17 Fastenal Ford Mustang Dark Horse for RFK Racing, Chris Buescher, back from a 2-week Olympic break. Chris, welcome back. We head to Richmond Raceway this weekend. We're the defending race winner. First of all, how was your break, and are you ready to kind of get back into action this weekend at Richmond?
Yeah, we are. It was definitely relaxing and enjoyable. Got got to have a lot of fun with the family, and got to see people on weekends that usually work during the week. So that was a little out of character for us, but it was a nice break. Got a lot of stuff done around the house. Little projects have been putting off, and probably about 20% of what I thought I would get done, but that's about how it goes. So saved plenty of stuff up for the off season. But yeah, we're ready to get back into it here. Left out of Indy and really didn't have a good day, so didn't get to go out on a high note, and tried to put that behind us rather quickly so that we can reboot and be ready to come back to try and defend this race for us.
All right, we got them lined up here for you. So we got quite a few questions. So let's kick it off here first with Bob Pockers. Hey, Bob, welcome back.
Good afternoon. I'm curious, Chris, are you being so close on the bubble? Are you nervous? Are you frustrated? Are you concerned? Like, kind of what is your mindset?
Um, yeah, I mean, not nervous about it. It's something that we're going to pay a little bit more attention to as we run down into these final four here. But I'm pretty adamant about it. I don't want to change the way we approach our races. I just seen it too many times in our sport where you try and get put back on your heels and change up what you're doing, and it can end up costing you. We got to race our races, put our best foot forward, and that should be enough to get us where we need to go. We've got obviously three of the next four races that we're heading into, we were able to win last year, so that's obviously a pretty awesome statistic as we look at it. But last year's results don't equal this year's. We've been very good at a lot of different styles of racetracks. We've been very close to locking ourselves in, but we've been very good. Indy was a rough day for us, and ended up losing a little bit throughout the day, and had a chance to recapture a lot of what we lost there on the final lap, and got dinged again. So just a brutal weekend, really. Not much good to come out of the race itself, but definitely showed a lot of potential for speed on the weekend. Just didn't get a chance to pull it all out and put much points on the table. So yeah, we got to be aware, but it's not something that we're up in arms about or worried about. We're plenty capable of progressing and winning a race here in the next four, like we have been. We just got to clean up and got to have a couple things go our way and just do a good job and control what we can from our side.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to Claire B. Lang. Hello, Claire.
Hey, thank you. Uh, let me undo the video if I can. There we go. Well, there we go.
There you go.
Last year you sprung to life in the final stretch of the regular season, and you won 3 out of the last 4 races. Why do you think you were able to do that? Why did your team come to life? And you said it's a different season this season, but what is different?
Yeah, last year we had been inching towards that kind of success, and finally just fired on all 8 when we got to Richmond. We executed a day extremely well, from race strategy to on-track decisions to restarts, pit road. Finally put it all together, and I think that was a big confidence booster for our team as we head into the next few. And so we were able to go to Michigan and do the same things, pull off a little bit of a little bit of strategy there, but also just execute at the highest level. And then Daytona was very much just a team win for us. Being able to work together and have Brad and myself together there at the end of the race is what made that one. But it was something that we talked about a lot. The focus this season was to hit that stretch well before now, and we come out of Phoenix and runner-up finish there. We've been in the hunt or been close to winning a couple others, and obviously we're gonna go down in history there for on the wrong side of history for a while anyway. For Kansas, so we've been very, very good at a lot of these places. We just haven't been able to seal the deal, and it has gotten frustrating. And the hard part is keeping everybody's head up because it's a hard sport, and we know that. But I guess we're just going to have to do the same thing we did last year and come to life now and make it a show.
Covering you guys in the NASCAR Cup Series, I think about the mental toughness it takes, and watching the Olympics, especially, what it takes to be performing at the highest level. Did you watch any of the Olympics? Did anything stand out as far as how strong these athletes are to kind of keep their minds together and come back from injury, come back from, mental issues that are really tough when you're performing?
That was a really good question keyed up for somebody who should have had an answer, but I did not watch any, so I can't say that I have any opinion on it. We just didn't stop moving. I'm going to be honest. From the time we went into break, we were working or traveling, and we did not sit still. So never got a chance to sit down and turn the TV on. I think between Emma and myself, I think we may have watched one episode of a show, and that was it over the course of 2 weeks. So we really just did not sit still enough to sit down and watch.
Well, appreciate it. We're going to cover your mental toughness when you come back now as NASCAR returns. Thanks a lot. Okay.
You got it. Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, let's move on to Stuart Weber. Hello, Stuart.
Hey guys, last year, Chris, you go into Daytona. That was the cutoff race last year as a guy who already had a win. This year, they've moved it to the race before the cutoff. What was the racing like for you there at Daytona last year with you already being secure, but knowing that every single driver around you wasn't? And we'll kind of see a little bit of that here, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll run into the same thing. Yes, it may not be the final one, but realistically, Darlington has a lot lower chance of producing a new winner, right? Let's say that last year was by far the easiest Daytona race that we've ever had from a mental side of things, knowing that if ultimately if you got caught up in something that it was not going to be a season make or break moment for us, that we had already did what we need to do, but also enabled us to go out there and be even more aggressive and be able to win that thing. So made big moves that we may not have otherwise, but that was just a very nice way to go into it. Sure would like to be in that same situation when we go back. So we got an important 2 weeks coming up for us, but when you get to that race, it typically can become just it can become a very crazy event, just for the simple fact of what you said. A lot of people looking for that last chance. I think they're going to approach it the same way. There's going to be a vast majority of winless teams that are going to see Daytona as their only chance or by far their best chance, and are not going to feel like they can rely on Darlington for that moment. So, like I said, I hope we have a win in the next 2 weeks, and might as well be this weekend, so that we don't have to have that thought process. But if we go into Darlington without our win yet, obviously we were very close last time, and with Brad being able to pull off that win, that's obviously that puts us in a good spot and in a good mindset going into that one. So I don't think that we would put ourselves on that long list of teams that are going to be looking at that as a last resort.
You kind of mentioned aggression. Do you anticipate this 2 week break? Normally there's 1 week here or there in a season, but a 2 week break to maybe affect the aggression of some of these drivers over this last month?
I don't think it's going to affect the aggression. I'd imagine we're going to see more mistakes than we would coming off just a single week. I think it will take a little bit to get everybody's mind back right, and whether that's going to be hitting pit road in a clean way, restarts, making mistakes, even just last race here at Richmond, we had some big moments where just drivers completely missing corners on restarts and really sliding up and creating really big moments. I don't know if that's just a mental thing that everybody's got to get back in a rhythm of some sort, but I don't think that I would expect the aggression to be different as we go into this one. I think you will see mistakes made that wouldn't be very typical of our field.
Thank you.
Racing experts up next. Jonathan, go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Chris, for taking the time. Want to ask you, this weekend, obviously, with the option tire, Richmond, what do you think about it, and what do you anticipate for the race?
I don't have any good answers for you yet. We have a lot to learn on Saturday. I will say our prediction, just in talking with our team, is North Wilkesboro was the last time we tried this. North Wilkesboro was new asphalt. Went into the evening. This is going to be an evening race, so maybe there's going to be some discrepancy on the option. I just call them reds and yellows. I can't keep up with prime. I always think of as the option, so just reds and yellows for me. But for the reds, I'd say that if in practice we see speed, but maybe blistering, keep in mind that may not be an issue, just like North Wilkesboro wasn't as we got into the race. Richmond surface is completely 180 of North Wilkesboro now. So I'd say that a lot of what we knew from there is not going to apply. So we're really kind of starting fresh on this deal as we get into it. So we have a 45-minute practice. So we do get the longer practice on Saturday to learn. And I promise we'll be taking lots of notes to figure out what we think is going to happen in the race. But again, it's going to be an afternoon, early evening practice in the daylight, and we're going to be running this race into the night. So not going to be the best read on what we're actually going to see in the race either.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Trey Downey, MRN. Hello, friend. Go ahead.
Chris, when you go to a place like Richmond, obviously you won there last year. At a place like Richmond, where do you need to be better that makes you kind of the class of the field? Where do you need to be good at Richmond to win the race?
We've only very recently become good at Richmond, so man, I wish I could answer that question a long, long time ago. But you know what? For us, it's been a matter of trying to get our corner entry good to where we can be competitive and really hustle restarts. You're always going to be tight center at Richmond, right? So it's just a matter of, can you be tight and still feel like you're getting some response out of the car versus just having a numb feeling. And that's something that our team's done a good job of working on and gotten a lot better. Our long run speed has been exceptional when we have tire fall off at Richmond, and I think that has been a really big factor in how we were able to be so good at the two races last year. We didn't see near the fall off in the spring race, and with that we weren't as strong. So trying to figure out if we think it's going to come back around this go, if that red tire is going to create more fall off like we think it will, like we thought it was supposed to at Wilkesboro, North Wilkesboro. It's there's a balance, but our strong suit has been really long run speed and being able to stay very competitive without suffering on the front end, just being kind of average on the front, and it's been good for us. So we've like we just talked about, we've got some unanswered questions with tire options this weekend, but for us it's a matter of how do we be a little bit better on the front end of a run and not give up on the tail.
And then Michigan, obviously, drivers know going into that race how much it means to manufacturers. But after you won that race last year, did it become even more clear how big of a deal it is for Ford to win that race and to continue the streak that Ford's been on there?
Yeah, it was. I'd say the most unfortunate part about last year was the fact it was Monday, because everybody had to go back to work, right? So many of our partners, of the OEMs, of our Ford group had to go back and sell vehicles. So it was different in that sense. But yes, the feeling, the emotions of winning at Michigan were very largely felt from the Ford Performance side, from Jack Roush, and his side, from Brad, and his history from Michigan as well. I think everybody I'm surrounded by has deep ties to the Michigan race there, and so it was important for everyone, and certainly felt the meaning behind that there. So yes, it's definitely a big deal. I'm excited to go back and try and defend that one. We've made some big gains in the Ford camp in the last several months, and excited to see how that can play out at another big racetrack where we know we were able to do well last year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Trey, thank you. Let's go to John Newby. Hello, John.
Hey, thanks, Dan. So, Chris, before the break, Haas announced they have the upcoming alliance with RFK. Now, I was kind of curious, do you have a role that you play in those alliances, whether it's working with the Rick Ware racing people this year or Haas coming into the fold next year?
Um, I don't know how the Haas Alliance is going to shape out yet. I know that's I think I found out just barely before everybody else. Just very grainy details right now, but I'd say my role's fairly limited. Talk with Justin and Kaz, and kind of go through some of our setup differences, what we're looking at for different racetracks. We're over at the simulator, kind of crossing paths, not working necessarily together over there, but kind of bouncing off of each other a little bit here and there. So just came out of the gym not too long ago. Kaz is down there getting after it as well. So we're around each other a lot and kind of just in casual conversations about what we have going on. But I'd imagine on the driver's side, my role is probably very, very small compared to what that alliance really looks like when you get down into the weeds of what's in it.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for the response.
You're welcome.
Chris Powell, you're up. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chris. Obviously, you're going back to Richmond Raceway this week. Obviously, you had a top 10 finish in the spring, and also you won last season. Let's talk about the momentum that you've had at this raceway in this last year.
Yeah, man, I wanted to burn that place to the ground a couple years ago. So this has been a tremendous turnaround for a facility that I have, to be brutally honest about it, I've been terrible at through most of my career. From the Xfinity days, I actually made my first NASCAR start at Richmond, subbing in for Trevor Bayne. That one went okay until we lost radios about halfway through the race, and ended up finishing pretty bad. And then something from there just stayed with me and did not click for a long time. So yeah, it has been a racetrack that I really have wanted to like, that I loved running on NASCAR Heat video games growing up. It was just it was a fun racetrack, but just hadn't been able to truly figure it out until the last couple of years. And honestly, from where I'm at, have worked hard at it. There's been a couple things on my side that have helped. Brad has been a big part of that. Brad's runs very well there, and has been able to give me a handful of pointers that have led me down a better path. And our team has stepped up in a massive way, and brought some very fast race cars that ultimately just make me look better. So when we bring those race cars to the track and we're that competitive off the truck, it makes my job a lot easier when I know that we're in the ballpark. When you're fine tuning on a weekend versus really swinging, trying to just get close, it really makes a difference on how your entire weekend plays out. And that's where we've been. We've been unloading so much closer to where we've been able to fine tune speed into it versus being more in a guessing game.
Right, Chris, we're going to close you out here with Dustin Long. All right. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, Chris, you have been adamant for a number of years, at least that I can recall, about not liking points racing. And so I'm curious, was there a point in your career that you got burned changing your style and focusing on points, and that's one of the reasons why? Or for as long as I can recall, you've always been against it, and I'm just curious where that mindset has come from.
Yeah, it's a good question because it goes back a long time. It's actually not from a big miss in my career. From the time I was 12, 13 years old, we made very specific decisions that we were not going to race for points. We would be leading track championships or local regional points divisions and would intentionally miss races and go somewhere else to make sure that we didn't find ourselves in that box. And the mindset was that if you raced at your same three local tracks and worked hard to win the points there, that ultimately you were racing against the same people every week. And yes, you had something to put on a resume at the end of the year, but what did that local resume accomplishment really do for you in the grand scheme of things? If we wanted to be better, we needed to be around different racers. We traveled out to the West Coast went to Vegas. This is Legends Car Racing. Went out to Vegas to be around different racers on different racetracks. We came out to the East Coast during summer breaks in school and went up and down the coast trying to be around better drivers, to purposely try and pursue a way to be better from behind the wheel instead of being better at our local track, and stayed with that throughout my career. You move up a couple of years, you go to our ARCA championship. We were able to win that not because we points raced, because we went out, we're aggressive, we won races, and in our worst days, we made sure that our worst days were not catastrophic. That we always had a mindset that in order to be better for the next week, you had to finish that race as well. And so, yes, it wasn't a matter of being overly aggressive and tearing your stuff up. You didn't get down that road and say points don't matter, so I'm just going to make a dumb decision. A lot of it's because I worked on my own stuff. I knew how hard it was to fix it, and so we didn't have those moments. And then past that, obviously it works out when you win races. The points came with it, and they always did wherever we were at in situations at the the highest levels, whether that was ARCA or Xfinity. Xfinity, we won a couple of races in our championship year, but we were just consistently good from most racetracks. And again, in our bad days, we worked hard to make sure that we weren't giving stuff up. I don't want to go to a racetrack and have a mindset that we're not there to win, that we're there to try and capture a handful of points to protect ourselves. I don't like it. I feel like it to me feels like you're going to the racetrack giving 85%. And that's not how I want to go about it. Points have become more and more important and talked about since I feel like since playoffs have been introduced, and we really dive into it a lot deeper, and it certainly feels like it means more to everybody, and I know there's a lot more implications behind the scenes. So you have to play the game a little bit differently, but it is it's something I just don't want to get stuck in the wrong mindset. And the one that comes to mind for me, and Bob Osborne was my crew chief my rookie season in Cup, and he talks to we talk a little bit in some of the times that burn and sting a little bit, and going back to the Kansas finish from this year. Was talking with Bob a little bit about that and talk about how painful that is, and he reminded me very quickly he knows how it feels to lose by a very close margin, and that Tony Stewart Carl Edwards battle comes to mind, right? If you get a little bit too complacent in there, and you don't actively try and go to win the race and put everything on the line, then you can find yourself getting getting burned on the tail end. So, and it's just one of the instances where I feel like I've seen in our sport where it can bite you if you're not going to the racetrack and trying to race your race, ultimately to go win a trophy.
And when you talked about early on in your career at 12, 13, that was just family that was directing you, or was it somebody else? Because that you weren't with Ken Reagan at that time yet. That was still a little bit later on, right?
Yeah, that was so one of my best friends, Michael Harper, is who I ended up traveling with racing Legends cars. He'd been running Legends cars, building them, setting them up for quite a few years before I started running with them, and it was just one of those mindsets that he had, that he had seen work out. He'd witnessed drivers basically get caught in a cycle that they became a track champion multiple years, and when we're really good at one specific racetrack, but never got that next chance. That got trapped in a box, and I think he's seen drivers that didn't have all these track championships to their name or these points championships, but won races and won them in front of lots of different people that that made their way up to the top of our sport. And I think it was something that he had an eye for very early on, and we trusted in that, and it certainly helped get me to this level, and not getting caught up in trying to run our 2 or 3 semi-local tracks. Texas, nothing's local, but if we'd have gotten caught in that cycle, ultimately it'd probably be in Texas racing on our local racetracks on Saturday nights. Right? There's a way about it. It's challenging. There's no set ladder in our sport to get to this level. I have a lot of kids or parents ask me how you got to this level, and all I can say is, be deliberate about how you go about it, and hope it works out, because there's no solid way to go about it, but it was the best way we figured out, or best way we knew how, and I liked it that way, and to this day I try not to get caught up in the point side of things too heavily, to the point where you feel like you're not giving your best effort.
Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome.